fever, temperatures rising now. Power is the force the valve makes it happen. Ask no question now, so get closer to my body now and love me like you don't know how.
You know, I don't see it recording.
Put the force now. Don't stop till you get it.
I know Facebook Live it's recording, but
don't stop till you get it.
I seem to recall that
With
it
the force, don't stop till you get enough. Keep on, keep it going so long. Don't stop till you get enough. Touch me, and I feel on fire. There ain't nothing like a love desire. I'm melting like a candle wax. So let love take us to the hour. Give on with the force, don't stop till you get enough. Give on with the force, don't stop till you get enough. Give on with the force, don't stop till you get enough. Give on with the force, don't stop till you get enough. Enemies are sparks, eternal, love shines in my eyes. So let love take us through the eyes. I won't be complaining, no. Cause your love is alright. Give up with the force, don't stop.
everybody, welcome. So glad to have you here. It's amazing the number of moving parts that we've got here, and I know I've got a little echo in my voice, so I need to try and change something around. So hang on one second while I get this thing squared away. Okay. Stop share. Here we go. Take a deep breath. We're getting started. So I want you to know that we have got a fabulous, looks like my audio is not recording fully. Can you see that? Something's not right. Let's try this again. Sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody. I need to determine whether we can hear. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here for the sake of just getting started. I'd like to thank Jacob Collier for just a fabulous rendition of Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson. His music is available on Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon. So welcome to the Podium Performance Academy. This is our maiden voyage, and it's our launch webinar for athletes and performing artists. And our goal is to help you perform your best when it counts the most. So let me give you some notion as to who I am. Tonight, there are a number of things that I want to be able to give to you. I want to be able to give to you three major takeaways, three secrets to performing your best when it counts the most. And so what happens here is we've got Podium Performance Academy. I'm honored and privileged to have you here this evening, and I want to talk a little bit about mental conditioning for performance excellence tonight. Podium Performance Academy is the culmination of, let's just say, my many years of experience working as a licensed healthcare provider, working with athletes in every sport from two-time Olympians to wannabes. My teachers have included a good many people, from Art Dickinson at the Human Performance Laboratory, to the number of athletes that I've worked with at pretty remarkable levels. And those are the things that I think are really key. These are my real teachers. Our ability to help them go from where they were to where they wanted to be was a really important element to my own growth and my own development as an individual. So many of you have been following Podium Sports Journal, which is a publication that's been in circulation since 2008 on the internet. And over the years, we've attracted several 100,000 viewers. And so as you notice, everything in Podium is designed to equip you with tools we've discovered together so that you can perform your best when it counts the most. All that you just saw may make a difference for some people, but for others, it might not mean a thing. And so I'm going to focus on doing an exercise that I think would be really helpful for you. Why doesn't this mean a thing? It doesn't mean anything to you unless I am able to connect with you. You have different ways of performing, whether it's a musical instrument, whether it's ballet, whether it's running a marathon. Or maybe you're a defensive lineman, you're a linebacker, you're playing football, or you're playing tennis and you're facing 130-mile-an-hour serve. There are certain things that we all do that hold ourselves back. So what I'd like you to do is just take a moment and think for a second. How do you hold yourself back? I'd encourage you to get a sheet of paper and have it in front of you, and maybe take some notes throughout this evening. And let's just really address these things in ways that can really make a difference for you. So I have one suggestion that I'd like to start with. And what I'd like you to do, because I think this will help us connect, I'd like you to take your cell phone, and I'd like you to put it about 5 feet away from you and set it face down. Now, for some of you, that just triggered a spike in angst, maybe anxiety. I mean, how long is it? How long a period of time do we actually operate without these devices? And they can sometimes be wonderful, wonderful tools, but they can also be distractions, and they can get in the way for us. So let's do a little exercise. And what I'd like you to do is sit back in your chair and close your eyes. Now, first off, look up with your eyes closed and just let your jaw hang. Let it relax. And now bring your head down level, and keeping your jaw relaxed, notice your shoulders. Notice your hands. Notice the pelvic floor, your feet. And notice that boundary that separates your body from the chair beneath you. Imagine that boundary with every exhale is disappearing, becoming less and less a factor for you. It's almost as if you can feel at one with that chair. And so take a nice, long, slow, deep breath up into a heavy sigh. That's a good breath. And this time, do it again. Only pay attention to what it feels like inside your body as you let go of that breath. And see if you don't notice everything dropping down inside. Follow it all the way down into the chair, and let it be there. And pause. You're now ready to focus your attention on some other things. What we just did is an exercise in mental conditioning. There are a lot of factors that are involved in mental conditioning, and some of them can be pivotal to whether you perform really well or maybe not so much. Our ability to focus and channel our concentration and pay attention to the things that we really want to are all examples of mental conditioning. And that exercise and doing a centering breath is one of those pivotal tools for being able to do what? Manage stress. You think about the amount of stress that you experience. And when I was an athlete, it was huge. I'm still an athlete. I still do the boulder much slower than before, but I like doing that. I like stretching that. But when I was a young athlete, somebody thought I was really pretty good. In fact, there were people that gave me an All-American designation in swimming. Whoop-de-doo. Because it didn't really help me. I never felt that way. I always felt just hugely anxious before I competed. And that was a big problem for me. One thing about anxiety is it translates into muscle tension, and muscle tension is not good for a swimmer. Muscle tension isn't good for most athletes because you're likely to remember when you perform your best, you're pretty relaxed. You're just dialed into the task. So your ability to control your arousal level is largely connected to your breathing. And then what about your self-talk? What's your self-talk like? Are you your best champion, or are you your worst enemy? Do you give yourself a really hard time? Do you ever tell yourself you suck? These are problems for a lot of athletes. How about mindset? There are some people that have mindsets that are really counterproductive, don't help them perform at all. They get to the starting line, or they're getting ready to play a tennis match, and they already feel like they're beat. Something about the way their opponent is carrying themselves. And how about you? How do you carry yourself? How do you think about yourself before you actually step into a performing stage or anything that could be hugely stressful? I once did a clinic with a dance studio, a bunch of world champions in this dance studio. And I asked the most common question, and it was really more of a concern than I thought it was going to be, where the lights come up, the curtain opens, the music cues, and they can't remember. They get behind before they even start. And so there are mental conditioning tools and techniques and routines and patterns that we develop in order to be able to make sure that your focus of attention is on the task all the way through. So what is a podium performance? I think that's really kind of a key element here. That's what we're looking to help you achieve, a podium performance. So what are we going to do with this? How's this look? What are we trying to accomplish here? Now I need to get this recording. There we go.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Walker, a licensed sports psychologist from Boulder, Colorado, introducing you to the Podium Sports Performance Academy. A podium performance is a performance that every Olympic athlete seeks to post every time they compete. There are 6 criteria that make up a podium performance. Number 1, visualize your goal. See it, feel it, taste it. Number 2, make a plan with a high degree of precision. Number 3, give your best effort every time. Number 4, be totally focused on the task. Be in complete control throughout your competition. Number 5, review your performance. Be the best at getting better. Number 6, revise your goals regularly and with a solution mindset. You're never disappointed in a podium performance because you know you did your best. Stay tuned for more informational videos to come.
Okay. Thank you. Now, what else is there? Let's look at these elements more closely. Now, one of the things that I think would be really helpful, one of the reasons why we did that breathing exercise, is that our mind time travels. Perhaps this is one of the things that is a concern for you. So ask yourself these questions. Do you really want to be in control of your life? I'd venture to say, for most all of you, absolutely. So now let's look a little deeper. Do you believe that you have to be conscious if you're going to be in control of your life? Now, that's an important component here because I believe that there are elements here to being conscious. And that means that your mind and your body need to be synced up in the same place at the same time, which is now. How do you do that? Visualize your goal. Visualize your goal. See it, feel it, taste it, know what it looks like, know how it's going to operate. Thank you. We're going to have to go do this again. There we go. We're back. Make a plan. It's important to have a plan. It's why you rehearse. It's why you have practice. It's why you do drills. It's why you do the things that you need to do. And so when you visualize your goal and then you think about what it is that you need to do in order to execute your plan, it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. Give your best effort. Now, sometimes your best effort is just designed to do the work. So distance runners, for example, sometimes they just got to do the miles. Sometimes they just got to get it in. It doesn't mean that they have to do things at a peak level. It just means that they've got to build that fitness in order for them to be able to perform their best when it gets back to it. So give your best effort. However, there are a lot of times where it's really critical for you to really open it up. And for a lot of coaches, they love to see an athlete that gives their best effort in practice because the likelihood of them being able to do it that way in a game goes very high. A lot of people practice the way they perform. Focus on execution. Our primary goal, if you're going to perform your best when it counts the most, is to be able to pay attention to the task from start to finish, all the way through, every element. If you're running a cross-country race and you've got 5 miles that you're going to be running, or even 4 or 8, depending on the different competition, know the course. Know exactly where you need to be doing what. Have a dashboard that you're thinking about your speed, your execution, your tempo, your form, your breathing. Relax through it. Be the best at getting better. This is all about growth mindset, and it's huge. If you are dedicating yourself to being the best at getting better, you're going to put up a better performance every single time that you go out. Analyze, improve, and repeat your goals. Really be able to focus on what those goals are so that you know that you can do a better job next time out. So, back to those 3 takeaways. Number 1, what I'd really like you to do is I would like you to be aware of your beliefs. So let's look at them. How many of you believe that you're performing at your best right now? How many of you believe that you're not? And think about how you might be holding yourself back. Sometimes people, they're stressed and so they don't think so well. Sometimes people get distracted easily. Sometimes, maybe that's you, you don't manage your emotions very well. And you just got that personal foul penalty in a game by reacting when it was a really bad time and it put your team in a very bad position. These things happen. They are part of your performance. And we learn from them. And so this is really key that you understand that you are aware of your beliefs. Let's look at this a little bit more closely. You remember the cartoons where the guy would have a idea and the light bulb would go up and the thought bubble in his brain? Well, it's actually not that different in terms of how it really works, because we'll have a thought and we'll have an image in our mind, and suddenly all the neurotransmitter activity in the brain will shift. There will be different neurotransmitters that are stimulated and others not so much. And by the time they become pronounced enough to be feelings, we really notice them. And sometimes they get really strong, and then they become emotions: mad, sad, glad, scared, and confused. And those emotions can cluster together just like thoughts do in the form of moods and attitudes, and they definitely have an impact on our behavior. So it's important to remember that our beliefs create the actions which deliver the results that we get. And if you believe that you can't do it, as Henry Ford said, that's the way it will be. If you believe you can, if you believe you can't, it will be that way. Takeaway number 2, focus on what you control. You're only in control of 3 major things. Preparation is one of them. Right now, what you're doing is you are preparing for your next performance. You're learning things that you're going to be able to apply. They will come into your thoughts and in your managing yourself prior to that competition. Maybe you'll be breathing differently. Maybe you'll be doing a preparation routine that is focused on getting you in the proper mindset right before you have to perform. Your effort, you're in control of your effort, and you are in control of your attitude. Attitude, what's that mindset? Are you focused on the right things? Are you doing the things that you need to be doing that are really going to make the difference for you to perform your best when it counts the most? Now, some of the things that I think are really useful is to be able to look at what happens when we've got athletes that are having difficulty. Takeaway number 3, I forgot. You can always do better. Our goal here is to pursue excellence, not perfection. Now, why is that? There are a lot of athletes that get so hung up on being perfect. There are a lot of people that are perfectionists. A lot of musicians, they'll go over the same part over and over and over again. And that's great so long as they want to be excellent at it. But a lot of times when people, they can't be perfect, what do? What do you do? Do you quit? Do you back off of it? Sometimes you need to stop, take a break, and then come back to it. And when you can do that, then you're going to be way better at it. Okay, let's talk about mindset, because that attitude, being the best at getting better, that plays a role here. Some of the research by Carol Dweck at Stanford has been pivotal in this area, and it's really helped people understand the difference between excellence and perfection, because perfection we can never achieve, but excellence we can. And so one of the key elements is there are 2 types of people. There are people that have a fixed mindset, and there are people that have a growth mindset. One of Carol Dweck's research looked at mothers of 5-year-olds and how they praised them. And when they praised themselves, when they praised their children, you're so smart or you're so talented, well, they developed that fixed mindset that maybe that was them. But when they praised them, wow, look at you. You give such a great effort. You work hard every time. Look at you, you get better every time. That is a growth mindset. So let's look at the difference in how these things play out. For a fixed mindset, a lot of these people want to look smart. If they don't think they can look good, they don't even try. They'll avoid challenges. They'll give up easily. And they don't really value effort as being all that important. Oftentimes, they don't pay attention to criticism, and they're many times threatened by the success of others. Are you someone who compares yourself a lot with other people? Sometimes that's useful if you can learn from them what it is that they do well that you can learn from. And if you employ that same tactic or that same skill and develop it at that same level, you might just be the one that is going to perform that better. Growth mindset, the goal is to learn, embracing challenges, to be the best at getting better, to keep trying in spite of setbacks. Effort leads to mastery, and mastery is excellence. People are hungry to learn from criticism. They're inspired by the success of others, and they tend to reach higher and higher, never feeling like they arrived because they always believe that they can do better. One of her primary research groups was involving a group of students randomly assigned. And you know what? Some of that group, they were told that they work very hard, that they always get better, that they're getting after it. And the other group, oh, they must be talented. Well, in successive approximations of given challenge and difficult tasks, the group that was the fixed mindset group didn't even try. And it makes a difference. Which one are you? How do you respond to challenges that come your way? So let's focus on an example here. I want to talk about Cheryl. Now, Cheryl is one of these athletes that I've known. She's a goalkeeper. And she was an athlete that way, way back was just an absolute star on her high school team. She played club soccer. She was really, really good. She got recruited to a D1 program. She always knew that she had some anxiety issues, but she didn't know how bad it was. Are you like Cheryl? Does anxiety really get in the way? Does it help interfere? Does it slow you down? Does it make you play hesitantly? Are you afraid to make a mistake? Are these the things that really impact you? What we think about in competition is hopefully just focused on the task. Imagine if every time you were walking downstairs, somebody had you concentrate on what your right knee is doing when you're walking down the stairs. That would be a distraction to you. Yeah, you'd be paying attention to your body, but don't you think that would interfere with your flow? I mean, how many times do you really think about going down the stairs? Not at all. And when you're doing your job properly and you know what to do and you are training in a very effective way, you are the best. Unless you are distracted or you're thinking against something else that's not helpful. It's not getting you where you want to go. So Cheryl came in and she had some significant issues. She was anxious. She was perfectionist. She blamed herself for almost everything. Her self-talk was atrocious. It was not only not constructive, but she'd make a mistake and she'd literally tell herself, "You suck." Not good. So rather than thinking about how she was going to get better and running the instructions in her mind, cut this angle, go out to meet the opponent, give them less of a shot at the goal. The kinds of things that her coaches were teaching her, she wouldn't pay attention to. And so it interfered with her and she didn't start. So when we started working on, what did she learn? Well, she learned to breathe. She learned to think about things in a different way. That she's not going to do things perfectly, but she can do things better. And so what did she really need to improve on? And so she watched film. And she looked at those things that she could improve on. And then she started working on just those things in practice, those things in drills. She managed her stress way better. She exercised thought discipline. Thought discipline. One of my favorite coaches, John Wooden, used to say, first we form habits, and then they form us. Our mind is like a muscle, and we must strengthen it. So when you think about how you think about your performance, when you think about what your self-talk is, are you conditioning it in a positive manner? Are you focused on the right things? Are you focused in how you can get better? Welcome to mental conditioning. That's what this program is all about. Now, when I go back to Cheryl, she would have a tendency that when she gave up that air, her shoulders would stoop. She'd go down to her knees. Sometimes she'd pound the grass in front of the goal. Now, how do you think her opponents thought about that? What sort of an image do you think that gave to them? I've done this work with ice goalies too. When they're in net, they give up a goal, their head drops, they stoop down. Posture. Posture. What is your posture like? How do you hold yourself? How do you carry yourself? Do you have presence? Can you shake it off quickly, efficiently? Do you have methods for how to shake it off? These are all things that can matter greatly in whether you're really going to be able to perform your best. Okay. Now, I had a question that came to me from one of the athletes that wrote in on an email. And the question had to do with this. The question had to do with this. My dad used to tell me all the time, act like you've been here before. Be modest. Nobody wants a braggart. Nobody wants somebody that's cocky, that's arrogant, that, thinks they're all that. Now, what do you think about that? What's your opinion about that? Where are you in that? So the issue here was it interfered with his confidence. It interfered with his ability to really build and develop confidence on the level that he needed to have it. And in that level, it was huge. So what are some of the things that people can do to build confidence? First off, you can keep a confidence journal. There's an athlete that I know that is going to be doing a book signing on the 3rd of October at the Boulder Bookstore. And she's a 2-time Olympian, and she's a fabulous, fabulous human being. And she wrote a book recently published by Blue Star Press called Strong. And in it, she talks about her confidence journal, which was a technique that I know that she worked on for some time. And it made a difference for her. And so maybe that's something that would be a good tool for you. And it's something that I would like to recommend to you. So what do? How do you do a confidence journal? How do you start? I mean, whatever your sport. Let's say you're playing basketball. Let's say you are competing at a very high level, but you're playing high school ball and you really, really love the game and you'd really like to play college. But if you're too modest, if you don't have a sense of what you're capable of, if you don't believe that you're capable of playing at that level, beliefs beget actions that beget results. And so what needs to happen here? So in a confidence journal, if you get home from practice and you open up that notebook, it could be a simple notebook, could be a little spiral notebook that's only 4x4, costs you 49 cents. And you open it up and right there, confidence journal. And the goal is to write down one good thing that you did that day. You can do this. One good thing you did that day. Hey, and maybe it was one of those days that didn't go so good. Maybe there were a few mistakes, but you know what? You had a good warm-up. Or, you defended properly. Or you got a bunch of boards. Or you got several assists. But you did one good thing that day, and you're going to write that down. And you have to write it down with enough precision that you can look at that 3 months later, and you can actually put yourself on the court that day and practice. And then tomorrow, we've got another one. And the next day, another one. And the next day, one more. And every day, you're adding one good thing you did that day. Now, here's the thing about that athlete, Kara Goucher. The night before, she was doing perhaps one of her biggest races. These are big races. She's competed in 2 Olympic Games. She went through about 186 entries in her journal. And she didn't feel like an imposter on the starting line the next day. She felt like she actually belonged there. She actually felt like she had a good chance. And for those of you that run, she ran at a 5-minute, 44-second pace for 26.2 miles. Anybody that runs understands what that effort is. That's a pretty remarkable effort. That was a podium performance. So, confidence journal, that's one thing that you can do. And it contributes to building that foundation of you getting better and better and stronger and more capable every single time that you go out to perform. So that's the number one thing that I would recommend that you do. I would also recommend that maybe there's a pre-performance routine that you might be able to do before practice, where you relax yourself. You really think about what you're going to be called upon to do in practice that day. You visualize yourself executing beautifully, whether on offense or defense or rebounding or taking it to the hoop. All of those things, you can see yourself, you can feel yourself doing those things, because when you visualize your goal with that degree of detail, it activates your body. You can feel these muscles start to react. Mental conditioning. There's a lot to it. I want to go back to this slide. Here we go. All right. Let's look at each one of these things a little bit. Now look, I'm going to give you everything that I can possibly give you right now. And that doesn't mean that there isn't a whole lot of material that we can continue to develop. But it's really, really important that you know that this is the kind of program that I'm launching, what I call the Podium Performance Academy. And our tagline is helping you perform your best when it counts the most. Now, this program is called, it's a group program, and it's called Mental Conditioning for Performance Excellence. Now, I strongly believe in this program, and I've been training for a long time to be able to do it. And I've only really covered 2 of the major steps that I'm going to be going through in this, of the 12 that we're going to be involved in, and helping you understand and develop mental conditioning skills for yourself. And the one thing that I think is really a benefit that has warmed my heart ever since I've been doing this work is that these are skills that people will use their entire life long. You're never without them. You know how to breathe in situations where you're stressed. You know how to focus your attention properly. You know how to be attentive to the task at hand, because that's how you do better. And so all of these things are part of this group program. And so what I'd really like to do here is I'd really like to have a conversation with you. Each of you on this call, I'd like to have a conversation with you. And you can set that up very easily just by emailing me at drstephenwalker@gmail.com. Dr. Stephen with a PH, Walker.com. At gmail.com. You can also go to drstephenwalker.com and you can contact me there, and you can learn a lot more about what my programs are all about. There are a lot of programs that I do one-on-one with athletes. Some of them are very intensive, some are less intensive. But the group program is something that I've been called upon to do because it's taken me a while to develop, and now I'm really happy to be able to bring it to you today. So if you're interested, what I'd like you to do is send me an email and let's have a conversation. I'll need your phone number, and probably Donna will set it up with you on the calendar so that we've got an appointment as to actually when we're going to talk. And I'm going to have a strategy session with you, and we're going to talk about what are the things that actually do hold you back. I promise we're going to deal with what holds you back. And I'm going to give you everything I can give you right then. But I'm also going to try and get you to look at this group program because I think it's suitable for so many people. What's it going to involve? First off, I'm going to be engaged in special videos that will be available on the Podium Performance Academy website that will just be available to you. These will be I'll have some recordings on there that you can download to your phone to help you with inspiration, or to help you manage stress, or to help you practice breathing, or to help you focus on the things that you need to focus on properly. We're going to create a dedicated Slack channel. Now, some of you may not know what Slack is, but I want you to be thinking like Facebook. You can get a private Facebook page, but we've got problems with privacy on Facebook. And Slack is more secure. And I think that a private discussion group for us in the group program will really help us support one another and will really help us get to where we want to go quickly and efficiently, because it's not just me. Everybody has got our issues in how we perform. I'll give you everything that I've got, but guess what? Your teachers are going to be everybody that's in this program, including me. And so just like I've been learning from the athletes that I've worked with and performing artists that I've worked with over the years, these are the kinds of things that we're all going to be helping each other with. We're going to be doing text messages a lot before and after competitions, practices, things where you're really thinking about how you want to apply these techniques and these skills that we're talking about. And the other thing that we're going to be doing is you're going to have a direct access to me where you can ask me anything. And I promise I'll be responding to you within 24 hours. And they won't be just, oh, that's nice. Oh, you'll do better next time. You're going to get something substantive from me. And so this is all why you want to be part of this group program. So there are a couple other things that I think are important. Not only are we going to have a host of special support tools designed to do one thing to help you perform your best when it counts the most, we're going to run closed training sessions, and we'll be doing that Tuesday evenings from October 9th all the way through December 18th. And we'll be having 2 sessions every month, plus all the other support activities. So I'm hoping that you'll be interested in this, but more than anything, let's just make that phone call and let's figure out how we can help you get to where you're handling those things that hold you back so that you can perform your best. Okay, now back to our slide here. Let's think about these things. Teamwork. How many of you have issues with teams? Sometimes, you like your team, but there are a couple people that you don't like very much, and that's a problem. And so it's difficult for you to really open up to them or to trust them. Now think about football. I played football. Here you got 11 guys on one side of the line, and they're trying to make something magnificent happen. And there are all kinds of assignments that everybody has, different assignments, different people to block, different people to run routes, other people to get the ball to them, all kinds of things. And then you've got 11 guys on the other side, and they're trying to do everything they can to mess it up. Teamwork. It's really key. Ever play doubles in tennis? Teamwork, key element. Basketball, teamwork. Even cross country, teamwork. You got a team that performs really well together, they can go a long way. So now we got to look at coachability. How about you? How coachable are you? I mean, we've been focusing on some of the things that that hold you back. And so the whole idea here is, what are you doing that's coachable? You may not even like your coach, but can you work with them? Can you? That's important. How about self-talk? We talked a little bit about that. Overcoming obstacles. How many times have you had an obstacle that you didn't expect? Just jumped up. Bad weather. You're playing a golf tournament and the wind comes up to about 25, 30 miles an hour. And you have to change the way you're playing that game. Those distractions, and if you're thinking to yourself in your mindset, oh, I never play well in the wind, you're in trouble. You've got to be prepared for these things. Your focus, your concentration, these are all key elements to mental conditioning, to perform your best when it counts the most. And avoiding common setbacks, yeah. These are all key components to being able to perform your best when it counts. And so those things are really elements that are going to enable you to have your thoughts focused in the right thing at the right time. So we're talking preparation, we're talking effort, we're talking attitude. We're focused on visualizing your goal, making a plan, giving your best effort, being able to review that so that you are totally dialed in to the execution, and then reviewing afterward all the ways that you can be better next time out. And finally, let's look at what your goals are. You want to set big goals, but you got to break them down and make them bite-sized so that you can actually execute them and take those action steps that are going to get you moving along toward mastery, toward excellence, not perfection. Okay. Now, we're coming up on the hour, and that's about all the time that I think we really have to do. But I really want you to be dialed into a couple things for you. Are you where you want to be? Are you happy with your performance every time you go out? Think about where you are right now. Think about the last performance that you had. What worked? What didn't? What of these mental conditioning skills do you feel like you need to bolster? There are going to be 12 sessions where we're going to be focusing on these things, and it's going to be really an important element to how we get through these things so that you can perform your best when it counts the most. I promise you, these skills will help you throughout your entire life. They will help you in virtually everything that you do. Anything where you're required to perform, whether it's on the job, whether it's in school, whether it's preparing for a test, or whether it's that state championship that's coming up in 3 weeks. These are all things that do matter. And I know you care, or you wouldn't be here. So if you can, are you happy with where your performance is? Do you really think that you've got it sacked? Are you having a problem with your own confidence? Can you do better? Is that confidence journal a good idea for you? We will show you how to do this and so much more in our group program. Would love to have you, would love to have that conversation. So, drstephenwalker@gmail.com, or go to my website, drstephenwalker.com, or better yet, the Podium Performance Academy, which is under construction, but it's on its maiden voyage too. Thank you for listening in spite of all the things that didn't work quite right. We will show you how to put up a podium performance. We will show you how to be your best when it counts the most. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great evening.
As around the sun the earth knows she's revolving, and the rosebuds know to bloom in early May. Just as hate knows love's the cure, you can rest your mind assured that I'll be loving you always.
'Cause now can't reveal the mystery of tomorrow, but in passing we'll grow older every day. Just as all that's born is new, you know what I say is true, that I'll be loving you
Always, 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 always. Did you know that true love asks for nothing? Her acceptance is the way we pay. Did you know that life has given love a guarantee to last forever and another day? Always, always.
just as time needs to move on since the beginning, and the seasons know exactly when to change. But just as kindness knows no shame, through all your joy and pain, that I'll be loving you always.
Today I know I'm living, but tomorrow could make me the past, but that I mustn't fear. For I know deep in my mind the love I've left behind, 'cause I'll be loving you always, 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 always,
until the day is night and night becomes the day.
always,
Until the trees and seas just up and fly away.
always,
Until the day that 8 times 8 times 8 is 4.